Coming Down is proudly sponsored by Colorado Ganja Gear, high-quality, artistically inspired herb grinders. So let me tell you, these things are great. I actually own one. My favorite part is the perfect consistency you get after grinding. Some grinders just pulverize your herb into dust, but the razor-sharp teeth and smooth action on these always leave you with perfect, fluffy, evenly ground herb. The craftsmanship is top-notch, made from aircraft-grade aluminum to guarantee you won't get metal shavings mixed into your herb. But the best part, truly, is each grinder features original artwork created by Colorado artist Lori Beatty. She creates unique mandalas that are laser-etched into each magnetic lid. And each grinder comes in a silk bag and has free shipping. So just go to etsy.com/shop/Colorado Ganja Gear and enter the code COMINGDOWN in all caps for $5 off, or go to the show notes for this episode and follow the link. Thanks and enjoy the episode.
You are now listening to the sounds of Coming Down. I'm Matthew. I'm joined here by my co-host Nathan.
Hello. Hi. Way to mix it up, dude.
You know, I like to keep it fresh.
Yeah. 50 episodes in, we'll start changing it up. Speaking of, 50th episode, dude. Woo! We have not missed a single week. We've done this 50 straight weeks.
It's crazy, man.
I mean, the year is kind of the fanfare, but also,
sure.
50 is a landmark.
Yeah, I mean, we're a base 10 numbering system. We celebrate the halfway mark of the century, so
yeah, totally.
Might as well make some fanfare.
Serious, man.
Oh.
Fucking cheers it, dude.
Dude, cheers it.
50 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Love it.
So, this episode is we're kind of bringing it back. So another return guest,
yes,
our dear friend Shelby, who was our first guest episode, I believe our second episode we ever released, has come back to tell another great tale.
It's our Halloween spooktacular.
Jeez, which we're rounding up on again.
I know, right? Her thing was almost a year ago.
Yeah, for real. Holy moly. Time has flown, my friend.
Yeah, seriously, you've been married for almost a year? This is crazy.
Yeah, it's way crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. God, that just feels so weird sometimes when you look at how fast time moves.
Oh, tell me about it. I feel like, March was just a few weeks ago. I'm sorry, May.
Yeah, right?
Feels like summer was just a blink,
Yeah, I feel like I had just started bitching about summer.
Yeah, we were like, is it too early to start bitching? And then we bitched a little bit, and now it's over.
Right, now it's over. Now we're in the rainy season. We're both feeling great.
Oh, it's glorious.
Yeah, as we were talking about, I think I do have the opposite of typical seasonal
affective disorder.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as the clouds come in and the rain starts, I just get more energy. I feel happier. I'm just so much better.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, man. It wasn't bad this year. This year we had what I remember being a normal Willamette Valley kind of Portland summer.
Yeah.
Where it's, just nice.
Just mild.
Yeah, it gets into the 90s when it's hot.
Yeah.
That's a hot day.
Yeah.
It's not, it's hotter than Baghdad here.
Right.
Yeah. What the fuck is that about?
Yeah. No forest fires this year.
Yeah, we didn't have our new fifth season smoke.
Right.
It was a nice summer. However, in past years, I felt like if I went outside, I'd catch on fire. So, I spent most of the summer trapped in my basement in my underwear with a fan on me, trying to move as little as possible, like a lizard, you know? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the heat just makes me so sluggish, and I hate it. So, yeah, I'm feeling really bounced back here.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of being bounced back and highly energetic, Saturday night, my man.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone.
Yeah, as I was just telling you before we sat down, I wish I had forced you to come. I know you had to work the next day, but I think it would have been worth it. I had no idea how good this band was going to be. They were called Dicey, and look up the albums. I'll put some links in the show notes. It's just like surf. It's instrumental. It's a little heavier and faster than a lot of surf.
Well, yeah, I listened to the music. It's sweet.
Yeah, it's like, proggy surf almost.
Yeah. And I was into it, but, I just had to work, so didn't go.
Yeah, totally. And, surf is a genre I love a lot just because I love, the drums get pretty shreddy, the guitars get real shreddy.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I got into Dick Dale right when, or was it Dick Dale? We did Miserlou.
Yeah, Dick Dale
Got
for
into
sure.
Gale right when Pulp Fiction came out.
Well, and that whole soundtrack, the Pulp Fiction soundtrack is what turned me around, because like Bustin' Surfboards and fucking Surf Rider, there's just so many good tracks on that.
Yeah, dude.
Which these guys did a little medley of.
Oh,
but
sick.
I'll kind of start at the beginning. So we roll down to Dante's, and pretty good crowd, and end up meeting this girl out on the patio, and she's like, oh, like, you guys seen Dikaiju before? And we're like, oh no, but it's like, I've listened to him for years, just never got a chance to see him. And she was like, oh, you're in for it. And we're just like, oh, okay, right on. And I have to throw this out now because I'll bring it up again. This show was $10.
God damn it.
Yeah, at Dante's. So that was why, we're trying to save up for Desert Days, and we've got other tickets to other shows right now. We've kind of been spending all of our money on concerts, like, over the last 6 months, which is great. I love, like, getting back into going to shows again, because I sort of took sort of didn't go as much for a while. But anyhow, so I was like, well, fuck, dude, $10. I'm not missing this show, right? It's on Friday. Perfect. Or Saturday. Yeah, perfect. We'll go. And so we go down there, and I managed to bring a good little crew of people down there. I think I got like 8 more people to go. And and the crowd wasn't too dense, so I was like, cool, I think I'm actually going to try and get kind of up front for this. And so we muscle our way up there and get a really good spot, a few feet from the stage. And these guys, they just come running out. All of them have their shirts off, and they're wearing these like kabuki masks. And they just start shredding. And I mean, it's like metal level fast. I mean, they're going crazy, and they're still playing like surf, but it is fast. Even the songs I recognized were at almost like triple speed from the album, so they're just going. And we're just like, hell yeah, this is pretty dope. And then, of course, like, mosh pit breaks out. These couple hippies, like, muscle their way in and start shoving people around. And then, like, mosh pit starts. Ricky dips, because obviously when you're, 5 feet tall and 100 pounds, you don't want to be near a mosh pit. And I usually don't tolerate too much moshing, so I kind of stood at the edge and did some blocking for people. I was next to this other, like, giant linebacker who was doing a great job.
Nice.
And then, but even then, like, the crowd surges, and eventually even guys like that get taken off their feet a little bit, and so we get knocked back. And they had tables set up for some unknown reason with candles on them. Which was crazy at first. And Ricky even went and told staff of like, hey, there's a mosh pit and you have tables with candles, and they just like shrugged. Yeah, so, and we'll kind of come back to that.
Dante's.
Yeah.
Shrugs about fire danger.
Yeah. And so, one table goes down. We start pushing kind of tables and chairs back and getting stuff out of the way. And that was about the time where I was like, all right, I'm done blocking. And I run out for a quick smoke. Because at that point, too, they'd play like 6 or 7 songs. I was like, cool, man, this is great. I kind of know what's going on. Run out for a quick smoke. And then come back in. And Ricky and a couple of our other friends, Matt and Shelby, were actually still outside, and they were about to come back in. But right as I come back, the lead guitarist jumps out into the crowd and starts crowd surfing, and he's just flat on his back, and the crowd's moving him around, and he's just shredding. You can just see him playing like flat on his back, and he's just like moving around the top of the whole crowd. So I start snapping pictures, and I'm like, hell yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, I can't wait to tell these fucking guys what they missed,
Right.
Yeah, so that was just the beginning. So he gets kind of shuffled back up on stage. I think they shred another song up on stage. And then I see the drummer just... Oh, yeah, that's right. So after he gets back on stage, the guitarist just hands his guitar to a guy in the crowd.
What?
And he just, like, walks off. Oh, he hands his guitar to a guy in the crowd and then jumps into the crowd and crowd surfs his way to the bar, sits on the bar, orders a shot, and like proceeds to drink the shot while a guy hops up on stage and just like plays with the band. Some rando in the crowd. Dude makes his way back up, gets his guitar back, and then at that point the drummer just starts taking his drum kit apart and just starts handing pieces of the drum kit out into the crowd.
What?
Yeah, and so the people in the crowd are like hitting the drums with their hands and stuff, and
oh my god,
I'm like, okay, this is wild. And then he comes down into the crowd and kind of makes some space, gathers all his drums back up, and then sets his drum kit up
shit.
in the center of the crowd.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then the rest of the band hops off the stage. Well, and they scoot their amps to the edge of the front of the stage, and the rest of the band hops off the stage, and then they just start playing down in the dance floor.
Just fucking house show style.
Yep, totally. And so people are just crowded around and fucking going ape. Like, damn, dude, this is fucking awesome. And then
that's badass.
You know, more stuff ensues. Like, the lead guitarist guy like stacks a chair on a table and then gets like stands up on that and is like shredding. And
they had candles out. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, and like when this starts happening too, I actually went and blew out a few of the candles.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen. And so then. Yeah, and so then at one point, and because we're not far back from him at this point, like, Dante's is in a big place, so we're at the back, but we can still see them all, like, really well. But then I kind of wanted to run around the side and just get, like, a real good view of the drummer in the center of the crowd and everything. Yeah. So I do that. I tell everyone, I was like, I'm going to go run to the side and, like, maybe get into it for a minute. And that was kind of where the mosh pit had moved, was off to the right. I was like, maybe I'll, you know, mosh around for a second and just see what's going on. So I do that. And right as I do that, I just see all these flames go up, and they had lit his cymbals on fire.
What?
And dude's just playing with flaming cymbals, and
oh my god,
the bass player had then now handed his bass to some rando in the crowd who's playing bass, and he's got 2 bottles of Ronsol lighter fluid, and he's just dousing the flaming cymbals and just like erupting huge amounts of flame off the drum kit.
Oh my god.
And so I'm right there, and so I whip out my phone and snap a couple pics, and I get some amazing shots of that. Shit. Right. So then, yeah, and then I proceed to mosh for a minute, and then I gotta go grab a beer. So I grab a beer, go back over to where, like, the homies are. I'm like, dude, you guys seeing this? And they're like, yeah, what the fuck is going on? Then, so at Dante's, they have those 2 rafters where they do, like, the strippers on, like, the Sin Night or whatever they do. So then at this point, there's a photographer up in one of those, and so then that lead guitarist crowd surfs his way up into that rafter. People just shove him up into there, and so he's standing up on that thing shredding. And then I start seeing the drum kit come apart again, and I see pieces getting handed around and getting hoisted up by the crowd. Next thing I know, the crowd the drummer is standing on a chair, and the crowd has hoisted him up completely above their heads. And then he has the floor tom and the snare and 2 cymbals all being hoisted up by the crowd. And
he's playing drums while crowd surfing?
Yes. And he's making the crowd be his like his stands, and he's like pointing at him and stuff, and like telling him to like adjust his cymbals, like, no, hold it like this, you know, and stuff like that, right? And then that was when they proceeded to do their kind of medley, and so they do like Bustin' Surfboards and Surf Rider and Mirsaloo and like 2 bars of a Rush song, and just like yeah. And I got some video of that. I think Ricky took a whole video of that whole thing. So I'll put that up in the show notes, too. I'll put all these pictures up in the show notes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and so he's standing, you know, and the crowd's hoisting him and his whole drum kit up, except for the kick drum. It was just the 4 pieces. But then they rip into, like, a whole song, and he's just, like, going crazy up there. And, yeah, so at this point, we're like, what is even happening? Like, this is the greatest show I've ever seen, right? And so then they bring him back down, and then I want to say at this point the drums kind of get disseminated out through the crowd. Some people are playing them. He's playing some of them. I see one of the guitarists gives his guitar to another random guy in the audience. He's shredding. Things are sort of like breaking down. They probably did a couple more songs, and then I see like guitars getting lit on fire and being hoisted up into the air. And yeah, and I mean, it's just like chaos and noise and fucking... Just and then yeah, and they're spraying lighter fluid. You know, dude's got 2 more bottles of Ronsol, and he's just like dousing these guitars, and they're just erupting in these huge flames.
Oh my god!
And then the main guitarist goes running through the crowd with the flaming guitar, and the bass player chasing behind him, spraying it with lighter fluid. And he just runs out the front of the venue and then down the street, and like half of the crowd followed him out. and then the rest of the band disappeared. And then we look back, and there's still a kick drum. Some dude is still like holding a bass. Some other dude's still like holding a guitar. None of these guys are in the band, and they're all just sort of like making noise. Some dude's like kicking the kick drum, and the other dudes are just like thumping the bass and like feeding back the guitar, like looking around. Everyone's looking around, like, is this it?
Is this part of the performance?
Is this? And then I look at my friends. I'm like, I think it's over. I think that's just how they end the show, is they just like leave their instruments with randos in the crowd, and they go and fucking run down the street with flaming guitars. Like, it was fucking insane, dude.
That is rock and roll, dude.
Yeah, and then that goes on for another like 6 minutes of just like these dudes like, I don't know what to do, and they're drunk. They're just like thumping this kick drum and like hitting this bass and shit. It's like, holy shit. There's not even a sound guy anywhere to be found. I'm like, they're not gonna turn this off either. Like, I don't know how long this is gonna go on.
Bartenders are just kind of looking around like,
yeah,
what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, so yeah, and it turns out that was the end of the show. I don't know quite how much longer that went on. I needed to get out for a smoke and catch my breath a little bit.
Yeah.
And
that's intense.
Yeah, so that was that show, man, and it was just completely batshit. Whew. You just don't see shit like that anymore.
No fucking kidding, man.
I didn't even really think you could do open flames in
I'm pretty
clubs.
sure you can't, but it's fucking Dante's, man. Like there's only a few places in Portland where you can still get away with shit like that. Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, so I didn't really, I couldn't believe what had happened. I was like, man, this to me, I go and see a lot of shows, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them are very good. And bands find other ways to do theatrics that aren't pyrotechnics and just kind of insane stuff. But, I just haven't seen anything like that quite ever.
Right.
And
well, it's like lightning bolt, it's just so fucking raw and like, and crazy and primal, like what the fuck?
Yeah, totally. And just the crowd interaction, the fact that they were wearing masks the whole time, like they didn't say a single thing. They didn't have a microphone on stage, and so it was all just like lots of hand gestures, and they're like asking people for drinks, and people are just giving them their beers out of their hands and stuff. And, and just people like, they were pointing to like where they wanted to go, or like the guitarist would point, like grab a couple people and point up to like, hey, I'm going crowd surfing again, like, hoist me around while I fucking shred and stuff. It was just awesome, man, and it was really cool to see the crowd so responsive. I mean, everyone was right there. There were a bunch of people just willing to support this drummer and all his drums while he played on top of them and shit. It was kind of like, damn, dude, like, he is just using your ass, but it was cool.
Yeah, dude, but I mean, like, come on, like, in this weird fucking postmodern age that we're in, like, that kind of audience participation is fucking awesome. And I mean, like, it's not like it's something new, like, that kind of shit has been around for a while, but it's just,
just don't see it anymore.
Exactly.
Because no one can get away with stuff like that anymore,
Yeah.
And even like, Dante's is cool, but it's like, clubs will bitch at you if you start like dragging your instruments off stage and stuff. It's like, people don't want fucking stuff like that anymore.
No kidding.
It's like everyone wants control over their shit.
They don't want rock and roll to be dangerous anymore.
Right, totally. And that was the cool thing, is like, it was wild, but I never felt worried, people knew what they were doing, more or less.
Well, and I mean, like, what fucking Dante's is like a big fucking cinder block cave anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's gonna happen there?
Yeah, totally. It's just so funny that we were worried about the candles.
Well, I mean,
at one point.
Yeah. I will admit to having some concern over some candles.
Turns out, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Fuck, man. That's like a fucking cage match of a fucking show right there.
Seriously.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was out of control. So anyway, so that happened. I did get to meet a couple of the guys from the band, because I tracked that girl down later who said that she knew him, because she had said that she knew him really well, and was the one who was like, oh, you're in for a good show.
Hell yeah.
Run into her, because I had to know. I was like, was this just a one-off because it's Dante's, or like do these guys do this every show and just like don't tell the club, or do tell the club and get approval?
Well, right.
I don't know, but
I think they'd get shut down if they didn't tell somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I go and find her and I'm like, is this what it's like every time? And she's like, yeah, pretty much. And then realized she's standing right next to the bass player, and I was like, dude, you were awesome, man. And he's just like the sweetest, nicest guy. He's like, oh dude, like, thank you for coming, I'm glad you really dug it. And I was like, yes, like, you tell me, is this how it is every time? And he was like, yeah, like as close as we can get, like we try and go crazy every time. I was like, fuck, dude. Well, then I don't know how you guys do it.
No kidding.
I mean, and just the energy.
Exactly.
And they played a long set too. I mean, they probably went on at 11 and then probably played an hour and a half. It's like
Jesus, man.
Just nonstop, dude.
And climbing all over the place.
It was like when they needed a break, they'd just give their instrument to someone in the crowd. You're like, here, you fuck around for a minute.
At first I was like, how do they know the songs? And I'm like, they don't. And they'd sort of revert to like something. And I was noticing because the first guy that got handed the guitar, he just started shredding in some key, and the bass player like switched up real quick and like matched him and was just like following him along with like an easy little thing. So it was just like, right, took the bass line for a walk.
Yeah, totally. So anyhow, I'm going to put a ton of pictures up from that, and nice. Ricky's video, we'll put all that stuff up on the show notes.
Cool.
But yeah, apparently they come through semi-regularly, so, definitely not to miss these guys.
Fuck yes. Yeah. I am super bummed that I missed the show.
But you'll get another chance. Now we know.
Oh, yeah.
Now we know that this is a band you don't miss.
Fuck, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even if they do set the club on fire, I want to see that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I felt good in Dante's. I was close enough to the back, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's no White Snake scenario,
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, and Ronsall burns
exactly.
off, so
it's not literal fireworks indoors,
right? Totally. Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd be concerned about is the tablecloths on some of the tables
and the candles. Like,
yeah, right?
Think of the children. My God,
right?
Fuck.
Yeah. So anyway, there's my mini story for the intro.
I love it. Whew. Yeah, man, that's one hell of a fucking story. Like, yeah. Oh my God. I'm definitely going to be there the next time they come around.
Yeah, for real. And, and again, $10. So
$10 fucking dollars.
Yeah, I'm glad they had merch, because I was literally going to go just hand them like $40 and be like, you guys deserve so much more than whatever you got, because it wasn't a sold out show. So it's like,
wow,
they earned whatever their cut off the door was. They fucking earned it. And,
hell yeah.
But yeah, went and bought some shirts and yeah.
Rad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit, man. Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into the housekeeping stuff.
Indeed.
And turn them loose.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who already know, like, and even those who don't, we've got a fucking live show coming up, people.
Right? We're gonna light some cymbals on fire.
Bro. Yes.
Apparently we have to step it up. Apparently performance art is like...
Yeah, I mean, like, we pretty much have to rob a bank for this one. Like, just show up wearing our fucking various president masks and, get right into the podcast.
Right. God, that'd be funny.
Look, we've been sprayed with all this ink. Can neither confirm nor deny my involvement. Yeah, so like I was saying, we're going to rob a bank. You guys should come to our live show.
Yep.
It's going to be not Ocean's 11 themed, but, come check us out. We may or may not be in jail.
Point Break themed.
Point Break, there we go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Point Break themed podcast.
Bring our presidential masks and our surfboards.
Exactly. Be lighting cymbals on fire while we're crowd surfing. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be at the Ferkin Tavern, September 21st. We're going to hopefully have a bunch of our guests there. And
yep. Past guests and friends of the pod will all be in attendance. All that can make it anyway.
Absolutely.
We'll have merch for sale.
Yes, we will. And when are we kicking this off?
It's 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
And it's free.
Yeah, no cover. But we're really looking forward to it, and we hope to see you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To go along with that, we have a contest.
Oh, thank you for remembering.
Yeah, you want to tell them what that's all about?
Our friend of the show and two-time guest host Tara has some posters directly from NASA.
Yep.
That we are offering up to folks who want to help us promote the live show. So all you have to do is give us a shout out on the social media platform of your choice. Just let us know that you did it, and that will enter you in the drawing.
Yep, totally. If you go to the show notes, there's more details. But yeah, if you share the Facebook event, tweet it, share the picture for the flyer that we got, any of that, that'll be great. Just help us promote this thing.
Yes. We are very much looking forward to this, and we would love it if we got everyone who wants to go in the building.
Absolutely.
Check out the show notes for links to all of that, and if you don't know where that is, that's at comingdownpod.com. If you'd like to be on the show or you just want to hit us up, that's at comingdownpod on Twitter or comingdownpod at gmail.com. I remembered.
Yeah.
We did it.
At Yahoo. No, Gmail.
Yeah, I know. Whew. It's touch and go there for a second. It's like Hotmail? No. Yeah.
Geocities? No.
Not Geocities. No. Not Angel Fire. Anyway, yeah, please hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. There's also links to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/comingdownpod. Thank you so much to everyone who's already generously contributing on there.
Yeah, we love you. We love you so much, helping us keep the lights on.
It's so great. And if you want to give us a rate and review, find us on Stitcher and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, let's go.
I'm really excited about it. This is going to be like up there with one of the weirder things I own. And he's like, well, that's really cool. I still don't really know what you're talking about. And then I looked at the username because I was like, how did Matt like fucking forget this? And I looked at the contact name and I immediately was like, oh my God, wrong person. Sorry. I meant to text that to my boyfriend. I'll explain later. And him and I had drinks later that day, and I was like, so here's the whole story. This must have been up there for the weirdest text you've ever gotten out of the blue.
Right.
All caps, because I was stoked.
Right.
Literally all caps. I won the Batawang with like 8,000 exclamation points. And he's just like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, the comic where you can see Batman's dick. It's very exciting. We've talked about this. And he's like, we have definitely not talked about this.
100% have not.
It's like, oh yeah, fuck. We only talk like twice a year. You are not privy to this conversation.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a little bit of a prude. But like in a fun way.
I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna.
I mean, everyone thought we slept together in high school, right? We dated for most of my 4 years of high school. Everyone thought we slept together. We didn't, because he's kind of a pussy and he never made a move. And but we stayed really good friends, right? And he married this girl who
Why'd you make a move?
I don't know, because I was also an awkward virgin.
You know, like,
and you know what? I did a couple times, and it just never. We always hit like a stopping point.
I'm fucking sick of people saying that men need to make the first move. If you like someone,
I'm very
let 'em know.
forward. I did. I asked him out.
Okay.
I made most of the moves in our relationship that were made. I was like, he was more timid than I was, and I was like, he needs to make a move on this one, because otherwise I'm gonna feel creepy. Like,
no, that's fair. Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't.
And I was actually also fine. I was like, this is good. I don't know, like, whatever. Long story short, we didn't sleep together in high school.
You can lead a boy to pussy, but you can't make him
fuck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you can't make him drink, I think still works.
Yeah, all right. That would have been a little more subtle. I like that. Lead a boy to pussy, but you can't make him drink.
That's a good one.
No, fuck with
But, okay.
All right, cool.
Every person I've
I
ever...
like fuck, too.
Every person I've ever dated has married the person they date immediately after me. If Mark marries Tara, I'm at 100%. It's just still too early to tell with Mark and Tara. But literally, the person they date immediately after me, they get married. Nathan was the first one who got married. He got married right after high school. And she was a crazy fucking lunatic, and so he wasn't allowed to have friends, and so we weren't allowed to talk for like several years,
Christ.
right? And then they got divorced, and through like the network of friends who have been like quietly keeping an eye on Nathan since like high school, because this was clearly an abusive relationship. Like if he had been the girl and she had been the dude, like someone would have called the cops a long time ago. Like it was like classic textbook, like she had his phone password and his email password and she checked his phone records and like
that's psycho.
uber controlling, like textbook abusive
like
relationship.
like Tammy 1 kind of shit.
Yeah, Tammy 1 kind of shit, but like less sex, like a lot less sex, and you know.
Tammy 2 was the sex.
Oh, Tammy 2 was the sex.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, yeah.
Tammy 1 was the second mom.
Tammy 1, yeah. So I ended up going back down there, and him and I did sleep together to help him. I was like, he's like, I've never slept with anyone except Anna, and I was like, well, like I'm here, and Mark and I are in an open relationship, so like. Do you want to just like bang it out?
Is he still married in this picture?
No.
Okay.
No, they were divorced at this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm here. Like, you're sad. I'm not. Like,
let's make this work.
You just want to like bang it out. So then we did, and like the next time I came into Medford, I hit him up, and this was like
such a
several,
porn video fantasy.
A little bit. I was like several months later, I came back into Portland, and I was like, hey, you want to get a drink? And he's like, yeah, but like I feel like I should let you know I'm seeing someone. And I was like, cool, dude. I don't care.
Yeah. Great.
He's like, okay, I just, last time I just wanted to make sure, like, you knew I didn't want to, like, get married or anything. His exact words were, I wanted to make sure you know I don't want to marry you.
Wow.
Which, like, is so funny. And it's
you guys
so
boned?
him. We boned one time because he was sad after his
the
divorce.
gentlemanly thing to do would be to
Just
offer
so
you
you know.
marriage.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. And this is why we broke up in the first place, because I didn't want to get married right after high school.
You know what, though? We laugh, but, like, dudes are so
I appreciated the gesture.
like educated in this country.
I get it, like the fucking Christian thing to do and blah blah
So
blah.
I, like,
but god damn it,
him.
the '60s were a long fucking time
They
ago.
were.
Like,
His parents are
evolve,
Jehovah's
you know?
Witness, and I'm from a small town,
Jesus,
and like I
alright.
get it.
No,
so
and
like
I'll back off.
I call him, and I'm like, hey, dude, like just so you know, I don't want to fucking marry you either. Like that would be horrible. You and I want completely different
Okay,
things.
I mean let's like tone it down.
No,
a
it
little.
would be awful. I was like, we would hate each other. Like, this would never work. I live 280 miles away. Slow your roll. Like,
all right, yeah.
like-
I guess terrible isn't too strong of a word.
No, and seriously, like, not to be some sort of, like, incel apologist or whatever, but dudes are so starved for attention that, like, yeah, they fuck, like, the second chick ever who showed interest, and they're like, maybe I should marry this one, too.
honestly.
You know? And just, like,
Well, and he's-
dudes get some really fucking whack ideas in their
I love
head.
him so much,
I
but
mean, I
he's
agree
so
with that
about...
last bit, but I feel like you're maybe overgeneralizing. Like that doesn't necessarily translate to all dudes.
Of course not. Of course not.
Nathan is like that, though. Like, Nathan
Yeah.
is very... He's all about, like, white picket fence.
Sorry, I didn't mean to overgeneralize. I meant that this dude's behavior is completely understandable because I've seen plenty of dudes
Yes.
like him.
That
Yes.
makes a lot more
I didn't mean to
sense.
sort of just like blanket
I'm like,
statement.
that's not all
some
dudes,
shit.
man.
No,
There's
obviously,
some fucking players out there, I guarantee you.
obviously it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had to have
Yeah.
kind of like
Holy shit, though.
a tone it down. Like, you're
Right.
not... There's no hearts being broken here, man. Like, everything's fine.
Yeah, I
I
don't
didn't
wanna get
bang you
married.
after...
Fuck
Hold
you.
on, let's see. 8 years after high school, I have not been pining for you, man.
Oh my God.
Like, we broke up 8 years ago. Like, it's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
and you've been married this whole time, but you know, people do this thing called casual sex.
yeah,
it's a
like,
thing.
it's all right.
Oh my god, yeah. Tinder. Fucking Christ.
And, like-
we are living in the future now.
I'm
Yeah,
not,
right.
I haven't told Nathan this because it's mean, but I told Matt this a couple times. I was like, I forget that we slept together. Me and Nathan. Like, I forget because it was he's the only person I've ever slept with once and then been like, all right, cool, never
Yeah.
again. And like, it was literally just such a little minor blip on my radar that a couple times when Mark and I were having a conversation in our relationship about being open, he's like, you've slept with more people than me. And I'd be like, well, no, we've slept with the same amount of people. We've slept with the same people. And he's like, Nathan. And I'm like, fuck, that's right. Like, God, I forgot. That doesn't count. I don't even remember that. Like,
Nice.
it was really funny.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, dude, seriously, I can see how some dude would get all bent out of shape about it. Because, dude, honestly, and I remember too and I could see it translating. I mean, I lost my virginity early, but like the first so many girls I slept with, I was just like, they're the love of my life, and just like I fucking just like took that whole, I like took it to heart so much because it was like a girl paid attention to me.
I mean, oxytocin's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, man.
It is though.
And it's like, god damn, took a while to kind of get over that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't like hit me too fucking hard, but I also feel like maybe that's something to do with my brain chemistry. I don't know, but
yeah, and I mean everything, brain chemistry and the situation you're in and the friends you have. And,
I mean, it's not to say that I haven't like had a serious relationship with a lot of the women that I've dated, you know, but like,
yeah.
I mean, if you look at it from
Thankfully-
his perspective, it makes sense because he literally married the person he lost his virginity to. I'm the only other person he ever dated, and here we are 8 years later.
Yeah, all right, all right.
And he's like,
I get
maybe
it.
this means like some kind of relationship.
Right, yeah.
Maybe for him, like,
And, like,
feelings were reawoken, and he was like, no, damn it, no.
Right. Well, and for me, I led a completely different life.
Right.
You know, like
for you're like a free spirit, like you just want to have
kind
some
of.
fun, and
Yeah.
like
I just
not
have a
that
much
big of a
more. I
deal.
have a much more like casual liberal view of sex than he did, as evidenced by the fact that I was dating someone else and left the encounter to go call him and make sure this was fine before we actually had sex.
Yeah.
Like I literally like because we had been drinking and hanging out. No one was shit-faced wasted or anything like that,
Right.
but we were like reconnecting. He's going through this kind of traumatic experience, and like we haven't talked in several years, and like the chemistry's still kind of there. So I'm
Yeah.
like, hold this
Hey.
thought, and like left and went outside and called Mark, and I was like, hey, if you want me to go home right now, I'll go home right now, but like also
might fuck this dude.
like if you're cool with it, like I might fuck this dude. And
I
he's
feel
like,
like
yeah,
that's
do it, call me in the morning. I'm like, okay,
perfectly
cool,
fine and healthy.
Yeah.
and
sweet. But
cool,
that's such
you
a
know?
Yeah.
antithesis to what his experience had
Sure.
been. That like
Yeah.
he literally could not wrap his mind around it. He's like, I'm worried like you're gonna cheat on your boyfriend. I'm like, this isn't cheating.
Yeah.
I'll go call him right now. Hold on, like let me go call
Well, and
him.
everyone's sold such a fucking bill of goods, you know, as far as like romanticism and relationships and like what that all means, right? Like,
Well, and I feel like monogamy as a rule is a really tough pill to swallow,
Well,
and
and-
that like almost everybody ends up on some kind of a spectrum.
Totally.
You know, like,
Well, and he was coming out of an abusive, controlling relationship too. So the idea that I could call the person I was dating and say, "Hey, I'm gonna fuck my ex from 8 years ago. It's gonna be real casual. I'll call you tomorrow and tell you about it." Was
Yeah.
like a completely different world
Yeah.
for him. She audited his phone bill. You know,
oh my gosh, right?
like
oh, there's nothing weird
a
about
year
that.
or two before this happened,
Jesus.
before we actually reconnected, like physically, I texted him because a mutual friend from high school was trying to get a hold of him. And I didn't know if I still had his number or not, so I just texted him and I was like, hey, just so you know, this person's trying to get a hold of you. Here's their number. And he called me because his job requires him to drive, and he was driving from Klamath Falls to Medford. And we talked for like 2 hours on the phone while he was driving, just like,
Hands free, I hope.
yeah. Though, I mean, this was several years ago. It wasn't illegal at the time either. But like,
Damn it, Shelby.
We're all about
Everyone in danger.
I wasn't driving.
we're all about safe practices on this podcast.
I mean, I don't know. It's his business. He's an adult. But
Nobody does anything stupid on this podcast.
Not ever.
no one's ever committed a felony on this podcast.
Literally
That's for
never.
sure. Yeah.
No. Not even close.
This, I believe the name of this podcast is Good Decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and like literally 2 weeks after that phone call, I got a call from his number at like 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, "There's no way Nathan's calling me at 6:30 in the morning. This is Anna. This is his fucking ex-wife.
Oh,
Or this is his
right,
wife.
right.
They weren't exes at the time." So I answer the phone, and she's like, "Hey, just wanted to know who this was and why you had a 2-hour conversation with my husband."
She was his ex? Like,
No, she was his wife
Oh,
at this time.
okay.
And I was like, I just told her what happened. I was
Yeah.
like, this is what happened.
Yeah. We're old friends.
For the record, I live like 280 miles away from you. I'm not conducting an illicit affair with like your husband. And she's like, well, it doesn't sound like you did anything wrong, but I would appreciate it if he calls again that you wouldn't answer your phone. And I'm like, no,
Whoa.
I will answer my phone if he calls again. Like,
Yeah.
just so you know, like I will
Because that's
answer
what
my
people
phone.
do is they answer their phone.
That's-
she
yeah.
literally took his phone
Whew.
away.
Man.
I tried calling him from like a landline to make sure he was okay. Like, she answered the phone and his voicemail was her. telling people not to call this number.
Whoa.
That shit crazy. That next
Yeah.
level crazy,
That's-
you know?
Oh,
That's definitely some
Yeah.
Tammy One type of shit.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
super was. So he's out of that. He's happily
Well,
remarried.
yeah, thank goodness for that.
He knows that I have a comic with Batman's dick in it.
right, yeah, that's how this all started.
whole thing
Been
started.
informed.
Now you have some context on this friendship.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Love it.
he's a good dude.
So not to like keep diving into this, but yeah, I subscribe to Dan Savage's sort of theory on monogamy, which is just like over enough time, the data shows that 90% of people fail at monogamy at least once.
You can't ignore the numbers, man.
Yeah, so why can't we just accept that people are bad at it, and you just do your best with it if you are going to make a monogamous commitment, and then you sort of like round out the edges from there, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And it's like a case by case kind of thing, man.
It is, but
you can't just put a fucking blanket on anything. Like, you just gotta fucking roll.
Well, and I
with it.
also, and I've said this before, and Mark and I talked about this a lot when we were dating, because we both kind of subscribe to this. I think if you are in a hardcore monogamous relationship, and in general, like, our culture of, like, possessiveness in relationships
Right.
leads to this, you, like, if you have feelings of attraction towards another person, you're supposed to suppress that shit, right?
Right.
And you're not supposed to talk about it, and you certainly aren't supposed to tell your partner that you think this person is cute, right?
Right.
And that kind of, I think, leads to this, like, idea that the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Like, maybe
Right.
the reason you're attracted to this person isn't because, like, it's natural and fair that you're going to be attracted to other people.
Right.
It's because, like, maybe your relationship isn't working out. Maybe that person's, like, your real soulmate or
God,
whatever.
right.
And so people get this, like...
well, and again, like, we get sold again.
The
this-
problems
this
are just
bill of
going to be
goods.
different. Their problems
Yeah.
are just going to be different with a different person, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's so... And I think it takes some of that pressure off. Like, Mark and I found... We talked about who we had crushes on all the time before we actually decided we were going to start, like, sleeping with other people. Like, he knew who I had a crush... Like, he got a new job, and my first question was, like, so who's the cute one in your department? Like, who are you going to have a work crush on? And, like, we could talk about that, and it took a lot of that pressure off of feeling guilty for even, like, looking at other people.
Well, and Ricky and I have even always just like pointed out other hot people in the world, like,
Yes.
check that girl out, check that dude out,
Absolutely.
or whatever.
I was driving down the street.
And I forget that some people are so fucking hard
They're
monogamous.
weird about
like,
it.
Yeah.
like people get jealous of looking at another person
So
walking by
fucking
and shit. It's like, are you
but
serious?
It's exactly what people do, man.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Fucking relax. Like, you can
Yeah.
find another person attractive. No, I always loved my old, and you know, I'm sure people have heard this phrase before, but I remember, because again, I used to be such a serial monogamist because I believed in this whole Hollywood TV version of fate and soulmates and fucking, you know,
God.
and you're
such
with this one
bullshit.
person and fucking this, that, and the other. But anyway, I remember when I was
you
working
have to
at
work at it. It's not something that you
Yeah.
just get given. You
Right.
know, like Jesus.
every
Christ.
relationship is just a ton of work if it's going to
Thinking that
last
it's
for a
gonna
long
be-
time.
Thinking that there's one perfect thing for you, and like you're just gonna get it, and then like once you found it, that's it. Like,
Which is absurd because,
Fucking
yeah, maybe a
Christ.
couple people ever, but, you know.
no. Here's the thing. Like, everyone that seems like they've found their soulmate, it's because they were both like just really good at working on it. Like,
Yeah.
just innately good at working
Right.
on that relationship. You know.
Cheers to my wife, because we're
Yeah.
very good. We're very good at working.
You
on
guys
it.
are. You're
Fucking
honestly, like...
But yeah, I remember like the guy I
Very
worked with at the
impressive
bar.
too.
He got married, and then you know, it was like a few weeks later, and we're working at the bar, and he like points out a hot chick to me. I was like, "Dude, you're married." He's like, "I'm married. I'm not dead."
Hell yeah.
It's like, dude, I can still appreciate a hot woman that walked
Right?
past.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a man once told me who was feeling guilty about noticing a hot woman on the sidewalk as he was driving by. He's like, "Oh God, I feel bad. Like, I don't tell my wife." I'm like, "Hey man, you can look at the menu as long as you don't order anything."
That's
Like,
also true. Yeah.
fucking.
Or
you're-
what you said,
You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is like, let her eat cookies in your bed. That's what you're gearing up
Larry
for.
Cook is in your bed.
I wouldn't
Was
kick
that
her
what
out for
I- that
eating
was not
cookies
what
in
I-
your bed. Is that what you...
Well, that's an old Turner phrase from my friend group.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
It was not what I was gearing up to, but you know, that's an old Turner phrase from my friend
Oh,
group.
that's such a good turn
of like,
phrase.
"Oh, dude, you think that chick's hot?" It's like, well, I wouldn't kick her out of my bed for eating cookies.
Oh right, yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Let her get crumbs in the sheets, dude.
There's
Mine was always, I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. But,
I mean,
Yeah.
same concept. Yeah.
I think she's probably more
I
likely
first heard that as an adult in a Bert and Ernie skit.
Wait, what?
Yes,
Eating
not
crackers in
in that,
bed?
not phrased like that, but like Bert is eating cookies in bed.
No,
Ernie's
Ernie's
eating cookies in bed,
cookies
and
in
Bert
bed,
is
yeah.
like, you can't eat cookies in your bed. You're gonna get all itchy. You're gonna get
Yep.
crumbs in the bed. And Ernie's like, oh my god, you're right. And he goes and gets in Bert's bed, and Bert's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm gonna eat cookies in your bed, Bert.
Exactly.
And like, so this is for
Whoa.
yeah.
Did this, like, was this the
And
skit
Bert
that
literally-
established all the, like, Bert and Ernie are gay memes?
Oh, I mean,
There's-
there's so
there's
many.
a
Bert and
lot.
Ernie just
There's
are
a
gay.
lot.
They just
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
That's amazing.
They just never wanted to make it overt.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, it's two grown men who live together.
I
Like,
thought they were brothers.
Oh
no.
It's that never is said.
One's
But I
orange,
get
one's
that,
yellow.
Yeah, they can't be brothers. That's
Jesus.
Wow, way to get racist about Muppets, Dave. God.
Look, there are observable physical differences.
Next thing you're gonna
All
say
of the
that
Sesame Street characters are different fucking colors and shapes.
But like Forrest and I used to say, like, if we saw someone attractive walk by, like, we'd look at each other and be like, I'm gonna eat cookies in your bed, Bert. Like,
There you go.
I like that. That's quality. That's good.
yeah, I was driving
That's
down the
really
street.
good code too.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so not
I'm gonna eat-
obvious. It's
you have
like,
to say it in your best Ernie impression, though. I'm gonna eat cookies in your bed, Bert. Yeah.
We're actually here to talk about. Well, first of all, congratulations
Thank you.
on your promotion.
Thanks.
Wait, you got promoted?
Yes. I'm taking a different location. I was going to be a little bit delicate about the company I work for, just
That's
in
fine.
case.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to mention any names.
I'm moving
but-
to a bigger location.
yeah.
Cool.
The biggest location.
Oh, is it the place that we love to go?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Someone in this room might have been married there.
I
Yes.
didn't think that we needed to go that deep because I already got it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happens on the 13th, tentatively, full time.
cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
Thanks. It's super terrifying and exciting and good.
Yeah.
It'll be good. My first month there's the end of concert season. There's a huge party with 2,000 people on property, extra. And there's, oh God.
Is that
what
the
else
Halloween
there?
party?
No, that's September. In September, it's a passport thing.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
And, Oktoberfest.
oh yeah.
Right.
So my first month,
course.
you might not see me for most of September.
Yeah.
I'll do my best,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
for
yeah,
most of
for
September,
real.
I might be slightly off grid because I'm
Fair.
going to be fucking exhausted. They have 138 rooms.
Jesus. And more bars and restaurants.
More bars, more restaurants, just in general, more shit going on.
More
More
everything.
everything.
More aquatic ceremonies.
Yeah. I had my first day of training on Saturday, and I'm going back tomorrow for part of the day, and then I'm there. I get 7 days of training, and then I jump in feet first. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Dope.
Cool.
yeah.
Will you be given the keys to the gates in the pool?
I don't know, but I'll let you know.
Oh my god, right? That's the real question.
Right?
That's the real question.
Because if we
here.
could swim from end to end, imagine what a world it would be.
Right? Right? I don't know yet exactly. It's gonna be an adventure.
Word.
Love it. I mean,
Thanks.
like let's.
I'll
click it
fill you
again.
in on all the details
Yeah.
of that whole thing after this
absolutely.
cast, but
Absolutely.
because it was very weird and short notice and interesting.
But you have a great story from.
I do. This was Christmas 2 years ago.
Yeah. So the place you're currently at and moving out of.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I work in hotels. I work
Yeah.
in a historic hotel in downtown Portland. So we've got about 51 rooms, and it's downtown Portland, so our clientele's a little interesting. And
But you're also this is what wiles me out about your stories sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that you're not just some roadside hotel motel. You're not like a Motel 6 or whatever.
No.
It's a classy-ish situation.
Well, it's a
Yes.
destination hotel.
yeah,
Yes.
that too.
But it's also not a fancy hotel.
No.
No.
We do our best to price out, especially downtown. We do our best to we have to ride a delicate line Because downtown Portland has had 40 new hotels open in the last couple years.
Yeah. There's a
And-
Ritz-Carlton occupying the place where food carts used to be.
Oh, there will be in a couple
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're building it right now.
It's
They're not going to
fucking
be
awful.
our
It's
competition
lame.
necessarily
Of course not.
because
Nope.
they're going to outprice this by about $200 to $300 a night.
100%.
But, you know, we've had... For one thing, our hotel was built adjacent to a concert venue. Because when the hotel was built, Lyft and Uber didn't exist. So the idea was like, oh, if you're going to a show at this concert venue, which my company also owns, you
Right.
could stay at the hotel, and then you don't have to drive home after the concert, and it was a really good partnership.
Yep.
And now Lyft and Uber exist, so we're not able to tap into that market as much. So instead, what we're left with is like the downtown Portland market. And most of the hotels owned by my company are destinations in and of themselves.
Exactly.
If you're visiting one of our other locations, like a larger location, you're visiting because like that's where you plan on being.
Right.
Whereas my location is right in the middle of downtown Portland.
Right.
And our destination is downtown Portland. We have twice as many Expedia and bookings reservations as anyone else.
Oh, wow.
Like literally twice as many.
Jeez.
I do $50 to $80 reservations a month through Booking and Expedia, as opposed to some of the other locations which do 5 to 10.
Because Expedia puts packages together?
No, we just list our rooms there.
I see.
We don't discount them at all. We just put them up there.
I
But
see.
because downtown Portland, we're getting a lot of international travelers.
Right.
A lot
Yeah.
of people have no idea. They're not familiar with my company name. They have no idea who we are. They've never been to Portland before. They're just looking for a reasonably priced hotel in downtown Portland.
Right.
Which you are.
Which we are.
Yeah.
We also don't have bathrooms in many of our rooms. We don't have televisions. You know, we're very
Yeah.
different from your typical hotel experience.
Right.
So the delicate balance with downtown is pricing ourselves low enough to appeal to people who are completely unfamiliar with the concept of not having a bathroom in their room.
Right.
And also high enough that like crack addicts who manage to have $85 in their pocket don't like end up camping out in one of my hotel rooms
Exactly.
and like making my hotel seem sketchy
But
when
they
it isn't.
do sometimes,
They
right?
do sometimes.
That's what
yeah.
always blows my mind is because you get some
We
fucking like
do, and you
meth
know
heads
what's
in there.
fucked up is 9 times out of 10 they're not paying for the room. Their family is, or a friend,
they-
or a
yeah.
church, or something.
Someone
has
booked it for them.
Someone
and-
out of the goodness of their heart was like, I'm going to get them a hotel room because they're trying to get into recovery. And then instead of going into recovery, they sit in my hotel room for 2 days and get fucked up high. And then I have to kick them out. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Sucks.
the story that I came on here to tell, that's easily the craziest and most stressful situation I've dealt with at work, was Christmas of not last year but year before, so 2017.
Oh, it was on Christmas?
Yes, it was Christmas Eve.
Oh, God.
Christmas, and you always deal with something crazy on Christmas or Christmas Eve because people lose their fucking shit.
It's
right?
true.
It is the saddest time of year.
It's the August crazies. We deal with shit in the month of August and December. End of December, we get the
Well,
crazies.
right. Because it's the dog days of summer.
Yep.
And then it's like the
And the
deep
end of the
depression
year.
of winter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this would have been Christmas Eve of 2017. And it was like a great day other than this happening. Like I came on at 7 in the morning. I was supposed or 8 in the morning. I don't remember. I was supposed to leave at like 3 or 4. And I was like, I'm going to leave like an hour early. And like I'm down in the office. Like everyone's been in a good mood all day. Our hotel's not fully booked, which, like, thank God for this particular incident. And so it's kind of been slow. Everyone's visiting family
Sure.
who's coming into the hotel,
Right.
so
Just,
everyone's
like,
mostly in a good mood.
smooth rolling.
Yeah, it's just a smooth day. And I'm literally like, I'm going to go home an hour early. And, like, I go down to the office. And I was not the hotel manager at this point. I was the assistant manager. But my hotel manager is off on Sundays and Mondays, as are all department heads. So all upper management is off on Sunday and Monday. And Christmas Eve this year was either a Sunday or a Monday. I don't remember.
All right.
So she was off. So I was literally the highest ranking manager on property that day, which is why I dealt with this situation. And so I went downstairs and I'm sending my email, like my end of the day, like everything's great. Everyone's in a good mood.
Smooth day.
I'm going home
No
early.
problems.
Housekeeping's almost done. No problems. Bye. And like I'm down there writing this email, and one of my housekeepers pokes her head in the door and she says, "Hey, there's a guy on 3rd floor yelling about having a gun. You need to come to the desk right now.
Christ on a cracker.
And I was like...
Who's yelling about a gun on fucking Christmas?
What? Like, I'm sorry. Like, what? Like, what do you mean he's yelling about having a gun? Because this was, like, not that long after Vegas. Vegas would have been, like, summer of 2017. Fall of 2017. So this was within...
the active shooter from the window in the hotel?
Yeah. So this is within 6 months of Vegas.
We're always within a timeline of a mass shooting in this country, but
I mean, these days
that
it's
was
like,
a big one.
Was there 2 that day or just 1?
Yeah. At the time,
but this one was still like kind of close to a big one. So
that was I still think it might be the biggest.
The Vegas one.
The Vegas one.
As far as the death toll?
As far as the death toll.
That was brutal, yeah.
It was like 50 or 60 people, something like that.
Yeah.
Killed. That's not counting people who were like injured.
Right. Yeah, that's...
and it was from a hotel window. Right? So I call my front desk.
So you guys are on full alert.
Right. So now I'm on full alert. So I call my front desk and I'm like, hey, what's going on? My front desk agent is like, I don't really know. We just checked him in like an hour ago. He seemed totally normal. But we have... This all happened within like... It starts popping off within like a couple minutes, right? So like my housekeeper on the 3rd floor... and I pieced this together afterwards. But essentially what happened is my housekeeper on the 3rd floor... was kind of wrapping up her day, and all of a sudden, and it's a historic hotel, my walls are not very thick. If you're doing something, if you're talking at a relatively high level in your hotel room, everyone on your floor is going to hear you.
Yeah.
Much less if you're screaming in your room. Like, so you can't really get away with... We noticed domestic disturbances really quickly in my hotel.
Yeah.
We addressed them very quickly, because the walls are not very thick.
It's an old hotel, yeah.
Right. So she was putting... I think linens away in the closet or getting linens out of the closet, and overheard this guy in room 313 start yelling like, what do you mean you're not coming down? You promised me you would be here. You're making me crazy. I'm pointing my gun at the window. So she goes down to the desk. She's the one who actually came down to the basement to get me. At the same time that she did that, there were several, I think we had 4 or 5 hotel rooms that were occupied that overheard this as well and called the front desk.
Oh, Jesus.
And so we're getting all these phone calls to the desk. My housekeeper's coming down to get me. So I told my front desk agent, I was like, I need you to call 911 right now. Let them know what's going on. And I'm going to I called the guy's room from the basement, because that just happened to be where I was. I was like, hey... And he answers the phone, and he's clearly agitated. He is, like breathing heavily, like, clearly agitated and worked up. And I was like, hey, this is Pierce. I'm the hotel manager. And we got a noise complaint from your room. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm just having a fight with my girlfriend. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to need you to keep it down because other people on your floor are kind of disturbed. So if you could just keep it down for me, that would be great. And
but you didn't say anything about what
absolutely
you
not.
heard. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I just wanted to gauge where he was at.
Yeah.
Right. This is just a probing kind of a phone
yeah,
call.
this was just a, like, I would do this regardless of what the noise complaint was, but, like, this was just my, like, hey, just so you know, like, we can fucking hear you.
Yeah.
Like, we are aware of the situation. So I was hoping that would maybe, like, if he's just worked up, I was hoping that would maybe trigger him to calm down a little bit. But instead what happened was he gets off the phone with me and immediately starts screaming again.
Good option, dickhead.
So at this point, my front desk agent is calling 911. I pull all my housekeepers down out of the floors and send them home, basically. I was like, you need to not be here. Like, get down off the floors, go to the basement, just lock down in our basement area until I let you know what's going on. I called all the rooms that were currently occupied and told them that they needed to stay in the room. We're addressing it, but right now we're waiting for a police response. Thank you for letting us know. I will update you as soon as I can.
Wow. Props, Shelby. Way
Thanks.
way to fucking handle an active shooting situation.
Yeah. Well, I was like, if he's pointing a gun out the window, I was more worried about people leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're waiting for the police, right? So I go up to the lobby, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait for the police in the lobby. Fucking 15 minutes later, they're not here.
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
And part of a large part of this story is gonna be, it's not gonna reflect well on the Portland PD because they did not do a very good job.
Well, we've
shocker.
never spoken ill about the police on this podcast.
I this is the first time that I've ever thought that they weren't capable of doing their job.
So, like, 15 minutes later, they're not there. And I'm like, my lobby is not... I don't have eyes on the situation. We don't have cameras on the floors.
Right.
My lobby is essentially, like... We've got a staircase that leads up to the hotel floors. It's blind.
Yeah,
it's a completely blind lobby. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take a radio, and I'm going to go up to the 3rd floor, because I feel like we need to have eyes on this door.
Yeah.
Like, I need to have eyes on this situation, because the fact, my lobby's, 1, a death trap, and 2, like, I don't know, he could literally be shooting out of the window right now, and I might not know. Like, I need to go up there. So I told my front desk assistant manager, I was like, I need you to radio me if the police show up. And I went up to the 3rd floor, and his room was at one end of the hallway. At the other end of the hallway is... Our building used to technically be 2 buildings. So we've got a concrete wall and a fire door in between what used to be the 2 buildings.
Yeah,
for sure.
So and next to that fire door is the back exit. It's a fire exit. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pull this fire door a little bit and, like, kind of hide behind it with this fucking radio.
Right, yeah.
With an eye on this guy's door, because worst case scenario, I can, like, dip down these back stairs.
Right. If that door opens and you see a dude roll out, you can just dip.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so at some point my front desk texted me, and they were like, hey, the police are down the street. They called Ryan, who's my assistant manager, my assistant, so, like, basically shift leader, who had checked him into the room. They called him down to meet them, like, a block and a half away to verify this kid's identity, I guess. Like, they either had him in their system or they found him somewhere. They looked him up somehow.
The guy in the room?
The guy in the room.
Okay.
And Ryan is able to verify that it's him. They called this kid on his cell phone.
The cops did? And had him meet them on the sidewalk in front of the building. Because they have more jurisdiction, apparently, on the sidewalk than they do, because their hotel room has essentially become their property. They've rented it. Right.
But...
So they need a warrant to go in there while he's in there.
They don't need a warrant, but it's not an active enough situation for them to justify busting the door down either, and knocking on the door.
That's weird.
That is
they
weird,
felt like
okay.
it was going to... The explanation that I got was they felt like knocking on the door would escalate the situation, so instead what they did was call him on his cell phone and calmly tell them that they'd had some complaints, and they just needed to talk to him.
Yeah.
All right.
So he exited the room and went down the front staircase.
Were you up in that? Were you, like, still watching that door?
Yeah, I was watching the door, and I saw him exit, and I didn't see a gun. And he went down the front staircase, and I went down the back staircase. Mm-hmm. And I ended up kind of passing him talking to the police to come into the lobby, because I figured the police would come in and talk to us, right? Because we've literally called 911 for someone screaming that they have a gun and they're pointing it at the window because someone is making them crazy.
Right.
That is the scenario that I have called the police for.
Right.
It's now 20 to 25 minutes later, and they're talking to the kid on the sidewalk, right? And so I'm like, they're going to come in and explain the situation to me, and I'm going to explain that they can't stay here anymore, and, like, we're just going to get them out of the building, right?
Right.
Instead, what happens is I see the kid leave and go walking down the street, and the police leave and go walking down the street the other way.
What?
Yeah.
So they just talked to him for a few minutes?
They talked to him, and I, like, left and grabbed the police, like, half a block down, and I was like, hey, I'm the hotel manager on duty, like, what's happening?
Right.
Because I just called you to help me with this situation.
Yeah, like, you're not gonna fill me in?
And they're like, oh, we asked him if he had a gun, and he said no.
Give me a fucking break.
He's just, he said he's having a fight with his girlfriend, and she knows how to push his buttons, and we sent him on a walk to cool down.
Hell fucking no. This is not the 1950s, goddammit.
And I was like,
right?
I was like, yeah, and at this point I'm pissed because I've been on a high stress situation for the last half an hour. I've been like literally crouching behind a fire door in a hallway to make sure someone with a gun is not about to come out of a hotel room and start shooting people.
Yeah.
And like, you're telling me you just asked him if he had a gun and he said no and you like let him go. And meanwhile, for the last half hour, I've been thinking, because I asked my AM who checked him in, I have not even seen this kid till he came out of his room, right? I have no idea what he looks like. I was not involved in checking him in. I have no idea who I'm dealing with.
Right.
I asked my assistant manager, Ryan, I was like, what did he look like? What's going on? And he's like 19, white kid. Like, he seemed totally normal at check-in. And in my head... In my brain, I'm like, this is a 19-year-old white boy who's pissed off at women. We're gonna fucking die.
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna die. Screams active shooter situation.
Exactly.
Like, this is textbook.
How are they not reading this? Like my God.
So
this is 2016, right?
At this point, I'm like,
2017.
Pissed.
Like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he can't stay here.
Yeah.
I don't know why that wasn't clear to you. And they're like, well, someone should have told us that before we got here.
No, fuck you.
And I was like, we called 911 because we were worried there might be an active shooter situation. He claimed he was pointing a gun out the window. Vegas was like 6 months ago. He can't stay in my hotel. He's been screaming for like 45 minutes at this point about having a gun.
No fucking kidding.
And they're like, well, what do you want us to do right now?
Come back to the hotel with me and kick him out.
Exactly. I was like, what I need you to do is I need you to come with me to his hotel room, help me get his shit, and like explain to him that he's not allowed back on property.
No
I was like, likely what happens is he's 86 from ever entering one of our properties ever again in any capacity, but like right now he certainly can't be here. Right. And they're like, okay, so they come up to the room with me.
That's crazy, dude.
Fucking stupid fucking cops, man.
They're like,
I can't believe that they were just gonna walk away from that.
No,
like, no
they weren't
idiots.
even gonna check in with me. Like, they didn't even come into my building until I went and got them, and was like, you have to fucking come into this building right now.
That's infuriating.
So I was like, in the elevator, I'm kind of trying to like take a deep breath, and I was like, I'm sorry if I'm short. This has been a very stressful day.
But look, you just charged this dude with a walk to cool off.
Yeah.
Like, no. We're gonna need better than that.
Yeah.
No fucking kidding. What the fuck? I'm like, what is a walk to cool off? Like, if a fucking... Oh my God, like...
It's insane too, because also...
I was like, next time I'm gonna fucking lie.
They'll pull guns on fucking people with
at
kids.
Traffic stops.
And shit, you know, like...
But I'm literally calling them saying, hey, someone has literally said, verbatim, screamed in their hotel room, you're making me crazy, I'm pointing my gun out the window, and it took you 20 minutes to get here, and you're not even going to come in and check if he actually had a gun. You're just going to be like, oh, go cool off.
Well, and also sent him away. You're like, and it's like, you now need to deal with this guy, and they just
him from their custody
and told him to walk further away from the situation.
Yes.
It's like, no, I need to kick this guy out of my hotel, and you just sent him on a walk around the block.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think at some point, I don't remember if it was in the elevator.
Police work.
I don't remember if it was in the elevator on the way up to the room or if it was in the elevator on the way back. But they're like, so we're gonna give him.
It's bad scrimshaw, let alone fucking police work,
dude. So we get up to the kid's room, and there's a backpack. And they search his backpack, and I'm so fucking glad I watched them search the backpack. They found way more than the legal amount of weed, which they did not charge this kid for.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I mean, weed's whatever, I guess.
Sure, but like, I called you here for like this level of disturbance, and you're just gonna be like, oh, there's literally like a mason jar of weed in this backpack. This kid's 19, he's underage, but like, it's fine. Like, so we're just gonna let that go because it's Christmas. And like,
I mean, someone who is acting violent, you find a reason to charge him. I never want anyone to get charged for any amount of weed.
Me
ever.
either, but like, I'm calling you for this specific problem.
You know what? Like the whole hotel was on high alert because of a potential active shooter.
Also, the audacity of like, you're not even going to react to this amount of weed in this situation when my assistant manager in housekeeping is a black woman. She has been stopped by police running to catch her Max in the morning for no reason. And I'm like, you just are going to stop and ask her what she's doing and why she's running? But I've now called you for this violent fucking
this
situation.
is the scumbag move.
Exactly.
Right. You know, like, they'll find any reason to bust, like, people of color, but, like...
Right.
Like, whatever, he's a white kid with a hotel room. Who cares
we'll
if
let this insane
of
amount of weed that he's clearly selling, we're going to slide. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and... Anyway, they check his bag, they don't find a gun. They check the bedside tables, they don't find a gun. And they're like, okay, well, we'll just give him a call on his cell phone, let him know you guys aren't going to charge him for the room. Because I wasn't going to, that was me. I told them, I was like...
Yeah, like, that's fine. No need to escalate the situation.
I want no money, I want nothing to do with this person ever again. I want to give them no reason to ever come back here. I'm releasing any money we have on hold on their credit card or debit card or whatever it was they gave us. And just tell him he can pick up his backpack at the front desk. So, they leave, they call the kid on his cell phone, let him know he can come back and pick up his shit. And, like, 45 minutes later, this kid comes back. And at this point, like, I'm supposed to have been long gone from work.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Christmas Eve.
Not even supposed to be here today.
I have called... I'm supposed to have Christmas dinner with Matt and his mom. It's Christmas Eve. So I had texted Matt, like, when this whole thing started going down. No, this was different.
Okay.
But, yes. But I texted Matt, I was like, hey, dealing with a situation, can't talk, let you know, I'm gonna be late, I'll let you know what's going on as soon as possible. And then I called my boss and her boss after the police left the first time. Right? And I had this kid's backpack. I had to call both my bosses and be like, hey, so everything's fine. But this is what just happened.
Right.
And here's what's happening now. I'm waiting for this kid to come back and get his backpack. And then essentially, like, I'm assuming we're going to 86 him. And they're like, yeah, just send an email with all the details to, like, HR and we'll send him, like, a formal 86 letter. And I'm like, great. Awesome. So, like...
at least someone's making sense.
And I was like, of course I'm going to put this all in, like, a report, and, like, I'm going to be here late, and they're like, it's fine, you're going to be an OT, whatever it is, what it is. Like, you're dealing with a fucking potential active shooter. Do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, great. So...
Hey, can I get active shooter pay?
Yeah. Does this qualify for, like, fucking hazard pay?
Exactly.
And, so, the kid comes back, like, 45 minutes later... And I give him his fucking backpack, and he immediately searches it. And I'm like, thank fucking God I watched the police search this backpack. Because otherwise, my lizard brain automatically starts sending, like, red alerts of, like, this kid's gonna pull a fucking gun out of his bag. You know? Cause
he just starts digging in his bag.
Yep.
And
I still am operating under the assumption that this kid has a gun, because I don't believe that bullshit story he told the cops.
Well, it sounds like the cops didn't search him. So he
could
just have it in his waistband.
I was assuming he just came back with the gun in his pants, you know?
So what happened was, he searches his bag, and he looks at me and he says, I'm missing something, can I go get it from my room? And at this point, as soon as I saw this kid leave his room, I had locked his room, so any keys he had on him were not going to get him back into that room, regardless. I had literally brought that up with me when I went up with the radio, because I was like, as soon as this kid leaves his room, I'm locking it. Like, there's no fucking way he's getting back in this room. So, I had long ago locked the room against his keys, and I was like, well, no, you're not even technically allowed back in this lobby once you take this backpack and go. I was like, but if you tell me what it is and where it is, I'll go get it for you. And he's like, well, it's under my mattress. Which is like an yellow flag. Because people put weird shit under their mattress all the time.
It could be his wallet.
I'll go get your Playboy.
It could be his passport. It could be money. It could be harder drugs. It could be a sex toy. We find all kinds of weird shit under the mattresses because people, for some reason, think housekeeping won't look there.
Hold the fuck on. The cops didn't look under the fucking mattress.
They did not look under the mattress. They looked in the bedside table drawers.
These fucking Keystone cops deserve to have their fucking badges pulled.
They did not look under the mattress.
It's insane.
So I was like, okay, what is it? And he kind of goes, my gun.
God fucking damn it.
And I'm like, okay. So here's what's going to happen, because the officer who had responded earlier gave me his card in case, anything else happened. And I was like, okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to go get that for you. There's no way on planet Earth that I'm going to go get this for you. I was like, but what I can do is call officer whoever back, and he can go get the gun for you. and you can pick it up at the police station.
Right.
And he's like, well, it's not loaded. Can't you just go get it for me? And I was like, absolutely
Jesus
not.
Fucking Christ.
Absolutely not. And your
how
time
old is this person?
Like 19.
All right.
I was like, absolutely not. And at this point, you've maxed out your time to be in my lobby. So I suggest you leave while I call this police officer. And if you wait for him, you can wait across the street because you're not allowed on property. So go wait across the street if you want to wait for officer or whoever to come back. Or you can pick it up at the police station. I don't care, but you're not allowed back here ever again.
Right.
Like, because your behavior today was, like, threatening and disruptful.
What a piece of shit.
Like, get the fuck out, right?
And he was, like, okay with you scolding the shit out of him?
Oh, I mean, I don't think I gave him much of a choice. Because at this point, I was fucking so done. I was like, get the fuck out of my building. Get out.
Christmas Eve, you motherfucker.
Oh, at this point, I'm here an hour and a half past the time I'm supposed to be. You have terrified every other guest in my building and all of my staff. This is the closest I have felt to, like, I'm just gonna die at work today. You know, like, I just stood up on the 3rd floor hiding behind a fire escape door, like, coming to grips with the thought of, like, oh, this kid can come out of there with a gun and just shoot me right now.
I might just die in this fucking hotel.
I might just die at work today.
Here.
I only make $17 an hour. I might just die at work today.
Christ,
You know what
manager?
I mean? Like, I was assistant manager.
I don't
17
care.
an hour.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It was the most money I had made in my life up to that point. So,
managers out there, you deserve $20 an hour.
oh, we all know it. We all
Right.
know. We all know, including my management. We all know. This is like we talk about this all the time. We're like, we all deserve to make like so much more money, but like it's fine. So he leaves, and I thought he left completely. This fucking idiot waited around for the police to come back. Because, and let me tell you what was my most vindicating moment of this whole experience, was calling Officer What's-His-Ass back and being like, hey...
For effectively the 3rd time.
This is this is Pierce or whoever, the Crystal Hotel.
Because he came, you had to chase him down the street and then call him back the
they didn't
third
find
time.
a gun. They were convinced this kid didn't have a gun, and now here I am 45 minutes later calling him back being like, hey!
Yeah, dude's asking for his gun.
Asking for his gun, which he says is under his mattress. And I told him I would not retrieve it for him, so I need you to come back and get this weapon for me, please. And he's like, you could hear it in his voice. He was just like... Fuck. Like, God
Under
damn
the mattress.
Under the mattress.
They all the fucking places.
So he's like, okay. He's like, I'm dealing with a guy who's threatening to kill himself right now. I'll be there as soon as I can. And I was like, okay, you take your sweet time. I'm gonna be here.
Right.
Don't worry, the gun's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck about that
I was like,
kid.
none of us are touching it. None of us are going into that room. It's fine. So, like, I have to call my bosses back and be like, hey, so everything's still fine. But
got a new wrinkle.
just so you know, here's the next little, piece of the drama. The kid came back, told me he had a gun under the mattress, and now I have to call this officer back to go cut this fucking gun. And they're like, you're not going to get out of here till like 8 p.m. And I'm like, nope, I'm not. But, like, you're
when
paying...
When did this all start?
This started at like 3:30.
Fuck.
Like, and I don't think I left until like 7:30 or 8. Like, this was like a whole fucking ordeal. And I finally, in between the kid telling me he had a gun and the officers coming back, I called Matt.
Yeah.
And I'm at this point like an hour and a half late for dinner. And I was like, here's the deal. This is what's been going on. Yeah. I'm really sorry. I didn't want to tell you earlier that it was a gun because I was worried you were going to freak out. Everything's fine. I'll be there as soon as I can. I just am still dealing with the situation. Please apologize to your mom. And he's like, oh my God, like, it's so fine. Like, and I was like, I'll be there as soon as I can. Please save dinner. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten since like,
right?
Like,
oh my God.
So, I actually let my housekeeping assistant at the time take the officers up to the room to retrieve the gun, because I was like, if I don't start writing up this report about what happened now, I'm going to be here till like
all night.
Later. So I let her take them up there. The gun was under the mattress. It was a handgun.
Yeah.
It was loaded.
Jesus.
So yeah, of course it was.
This idiot child waited around for the police. They charged him with...
No way.
Yep, he waited. He came back thinking they were just going to give him his gun.
Fucking way.
No, he's an idiot.
So everyone's just like an
Just
idiot
a
in this
chain
story
of
except
idiots.
for you.
Yeah,
Well, I
just
mean, like, honestly-
everyone who worked for me and me. We were like on our shit.
So, yeah.
That was the Christmas miracle, right?
Yeah, the Christmas miracle was we handled our shit.
And that kid was dumb enough to wait around to just get
The
scooped
Christmas
up.
miracle was a bunch of like barely more than minimum wage workers were like, we can handle this, and
Oh, yeah.
like professionals were like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, so a bunch of fucking underpaid wage slaves did the cops' work for them, and then the kid was just dumb enough to let them fucking put a bow on it.
Yeah, so they charged him with
Yeah.
felony possession of a firearm. And
Whose gun was it? Did they tell you?
no idea.
All right.
No idea if it just wasn't registered.
Why was it felony possession though? Because
I don't know if he had prior charges.
Okay.
I don't know any details about.
technically he's allowed to own it.
But it could have been a stolen firearm.
It could have been unregistered.
And
it could have been
Is it a higher age
stolen.
for handguns? I think
might
might
actually be.
21
I
in
was going to say, I'm
Oregon
pretty sure it's 21
handgun.
for a handgun.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly what led to him being charged with felony possession.
Wait, so they went up there, grabbed the dude's gun, like put it in an evidence bag or whatever.
Then went
Yep.
across the street and were like, hey, how's it going? Would you like to step into this squad car?
Essentially, yeah, they arrested him.
Okay, that's how it went down.
Yep. Well, the kid came up and talked to the cops willingly. Basically, I think
Hey,
he
hey,
fully
bruh,
expected to just like.
Where's my gun at?
But like, can
Thanks
you
for grabbing
blame
my
him?
gun.
Because
Yeah.
they literally sent him on a walk to cool down earlier than that. So maybe
Yeah,
he was like, they'll understand.
Yeah.
Like
those brochachos got my pistol.
so-
It's cool.
So then the officer comes in, and now we all have to give statements, right? Like now the police want to talk to us about what happened. So I have to spend another.
Oh, now they want to fucking.
Yes.
Now they want to be cops.
So then I have to spend
Fucking
another.
goddamn
I had to spend another 45 minutes giving the police the whole fucking rundown of what
it.
happened.
Listen, Poncherello, I already fucking told this to
Wait,
the last
but did you
asshole
get
who
to
was
like go through and you're like, and here's the part where I had to go chase you guys down for the first time.
A little
Here's
bit.
the part where you let the guy go fucking walk around the block. Here's the part where I had to call you for the third time.
A little bit. I mean, I was a little more professional because I was like, at this
you
point,
need
I
the
just.
fucking breakdown.
At this point, I was so tired that I was,
Right?
and like completely depleted. All my adrenaline had depleted by this
Right?
point.
Yeah. it's
So
I
like,
just-
I just want to go
perfunctory.
home. I was just like, I just reverted into like professionalism.
Right.
You know, like
Just like
so,
matter of factness.
Yeah,
Get
I was
me
just
the
like
fuck out of
black
here.
and white. Here's what happened, step by step. So that
The
was
individual.
that was on the 24th.
That's when you know you're real tired, when you can't even like give it to the cops a
No,
little bit.
and at this
you're
point,
just like,
I was just like, you know what? Whatever. They came back and got the gun. I don't even give a shit at this point. This kid's getting charged. What the fuck ever. So, on the 26th,
not even supposed to be here today.
I'm not even supposed to be here now, at least. Yeah. And so on the 20, that was on the 24th. On the 26th, I had to go into, I guess it's an arraignment hearing. Is I guess what
Right.
it is, where they try and decide if they have enough evidence to charge someone with a crime.
Jeez, I don't know. Is there enough evidence?
So
Let's figure it out.
it was me, my assistant Ryan, who actually checked him in, and the officer who had to go to this arraignment hearing.
Right.
And they did end up charging him. I got subpoenaed every month for like a year, and then they just kept like pushing the date. I never had to go to court because they kept pushing it back. I'm sure they reached
Christ
some
on
kind
a
of.
bicycle. What the fuck?
I'm sure they
Yeah.
reached some kind of plea deal with this kid.
Yeah, of course.
And his attorneys.
Oh, and they just kept like pushing it back.
Yeah, it was the kid's attorneys who kept
Right.
pushing it back. They
Yeah,
kept
they're
finding
like-
a way to delay it.
Yeah, like
I'm
we have
sure
new findings, blah blah blah.
they reached some sort of plea deal. And I think it took them so long to do that because every time they were like, hey, every time they sent me and my assistant manager, like, hey, can you be on court on this day? Both him and I were like, absolutely, and yes, we can. Yeah, we will. We can be there at court. Yes. Because we fucking hated this kid by the end
No
of the day
shit.
because we had to deal with this entire fucking shit show of a situation. And also, like, we get paid for our time by our company
Right.
because this happened at work.
That's
This was like
so
a work
good.
scenario for us.
Oh, that's
so our
so
HR
good.
is like, whatever you have to do. If you get
Yeah.
subpoenaed, you be there. We'll pay you time and a half.
I
So both
love
him
it.
and I were like, yeah, fuck you. We'll be there. We'll sit
Yeah.
in court and not have to deal with the public for a day.
Plus,
fuck
you
you.
get another shot.
Like,
You get another chance to give a shot at the cops.
Yeah.
And be like,
Right.
oh yeah, the reason all of this.
by the way,
fucking
you're
happened-
fucking incompetent.
Oh my God.
So that was easily the most stressful thing. I never ended up having to go to court. The kid's obviously 86th. that happened. The Christmas Eve after that, last Christmas, was a lot less stressful, but I did still have to kick a crackhead out of my hotel because it was Christmas Eve. But it went a lot smoother that time.